When it comes to bear defense, every shot counts. But does heavier always mean better? Today, we're finding out which 10mm round you'd really want with you in the backwoods for defense. Welcome back to 3R Ballistics. And in this video, we're putting three 10mm bear defense loads head to head. A light, fast round versus a middleweight, and then the standard heavy hard cast. We'll test them both for velocity, penetration, and real world performance to see which one actually gives you the best chance in a worst case scenario. So grab your hearing protection because it's time to see which 10mm wins the battle of the bear defense. So which three loads are we going to be comparing? Well, our gold standard right here is the Grizzly heavy 10mm. This is a 220 grain hammerhead hard cast flat point. This should be going around 1200 feet per second, which is why we have the chronograph to check, giving us slightly over 700 foot-pounds of energy. Next up, we have Hornady's new Backcountry Defense. This one is probably our least amount of penetration. This is the 10mm. This is a 200 grain with their DGH projectile. This one should be going about 1160 feet per second. And last, Liberty Ammunition's Bear Country. Now this one is unique. This is a 70 grain projectile, supposedly going 2100 feet per second, giving us about 685 foot-pounds of energy. Now, this also claims that they are using a 100% hardened copper for deep penetration. And that is what we're here to test. We are going to start out as a control with some 180 grain CCI Blazer full metal jacket. All of these are being shot out of the Glock 20. So we have a 1/2 inch piece of 6061 aluminum. Okay, here we go. Woo! 1153. We're gonna shoot all these and look at them at the end. I'll mark them with a permanent pin there. Next up, we're gonna do Backcountry Defense by Hornady. Okay, here we go. That one was supposed to be going 1160, went 1028. Next up, we got the Bear Country from Liberty. I'm gonna have to change the settings on here because it's supposed to be going 2100 feet per second. And as you know, these chronographs have a certain limit. So we got the 70 grain. See how fast we're going. You good? Okay, I'm gonna try to go above the first one. Here we go. 2159. Clear. Next up, we got Grizzlies. Big bore ammunition. This is a 220 grain. Should be going 1200 feet per second. But we will find out. You good? 1064 feet per second. Clear. Okay, so this is our plate here. 1/2 inch of 6061 aluminum. This is the 180 full metal jacket. This was the 200 grain Hornady Backcountry Defense. This is the 220 grain hard cast. I just going off my gut, because the 70 grain Liberty stuck in there and all the other ones broke off. I gotta say, if your Grizzly's got aluminum skin, you want to go with the 70 grain, Liberty. But now we're moving on to HDPE, starting out with 180 grain FMJ. We will try for the bottom left quadrant. You good? Here we go. 1141 feet per second. Next up, the 200 grain Hornady DGH Backcountry Defense. We'll try to go to the right of that one. 1032 feet per second, clear. And now we have the 70 grain Liberty. We changed the Garmin. We'll try to go above those two. You good? Woo! 2161 for those. That is that's moving. And last up, the 220 grain hard cast from Grizzly. We'll try to go above those ones. Here we go. A little bit closer, clear. 1093 feet per second. Okay, now this will be interesting. As you can see, we have the 180 grain full metal jacket, the 200 grain Hornady, 70 grain Liberty, and the 220 grain Grizzly. Now, if you look through the side, we caught a lot of these. Let's see if we can find out where they went. Woo! There is the Hornady, which went through two of them. There's the Hornady through two plates. The FMJ looks like it got stuck. Wait a second. The FMJ is right here on the third plate. That is very interesting. The 70 grain Liberty is also on the third plate. Right there is the Liberty FMJ right there. And our hard cast. All made it through three plates. Huh. Okay, so those are some pretty interesting results. Now this is, polyethylene. So these boards have stopped rifle rounds within 6 inches. The fact that all of these stopped 1.5 inches, yeah. But to be able to capture all of them, that is interesting. I'll show you a picture at the end what all of these captured bullets look like. But up next, I have something that we created that kind of emulates, maybe a bear skull. I'll explain it in just a little bit. Let's get those out. So here we go. This is what we have up next. We have a Schedule 40 PVC pipe with a very thin layer of concrete. Inside, we have slime in a bottle. This is what it looks like. Very, very tough. I'm not sure what we're going to get out of this, but this is what we're using to emulate it. We got the rest of them are a little bit taller. The full metal jacket, this one's just easier to explain. So let's get to shooting, see what we get. 180 grain FMJ against our bear skull. Okay, here we go. Woo! 1150. Being rounded, this was more of an edge shot, but as you can see, this did go through the first 2 layers and did crack. So technically speaking, it may be in here. Do we want to look for it? You know what? We might look for it at the end of the video. But that's what we got for the full metal jacket. On to the next. Next up, we got the Hornady Backcountry Defense. Let's see if we can hit this a little straighter on. You good? Here we go. Whoa! Okay. 1032 feet per second. Okay, this one created a little bit more destruction, so I'm gonna have to give it to you like this. Good center shot. Obviously went all the way through, out the back. The bottle is sitting down here. The bottle's sitting here. Here's the entry hole right there. There is the exit. Up next, Liberty 70 grain. Let's see if we get the same shot placement and same reaction. Okay, you ready? Here we go. 2174. These are still just moving clear. Very interesting. Another very good center shot. As you can see what the construction of this is. But what is surprising about this, did not come out the back. Good shot front, not out the back. Huh. I gotta say, that was pretty reactive. That was a cool slow-mo, but not going through the back. I don't know. So, up next, 220 grain Grizzly. See if we can get another center shot and see if the extra weight actually makes a difference. You good back there? Here we go. Woo! 1094.9 feet per second. Clear. Take this for what you want. Center shot. A lot more weight. This stuff is slime, like I said, but straight through the back. I mean, it just in one side, out the other. Okay, on to the ballistics gel. We got our ballistics gel set up. We're gonna go ahead and start with the Hornady. We're probably not gonna do full metal jacket on this. We're gonna try a little bit more to the bottom left. You good? Here we go. Next up, we got the Civil Liberty 70 grain. Let's see if this slows it down at all. Good. Here we go. Nope. Straight through, clear. Last up, we have our 220 grain Grizzly hardcast. You good? Here we go. Ah ha ha! So I was wrong. This is 3/4 plywood. But after going through 3/4 of plywood, you can see this top one is the Grizzly, and it would have kept going. It did come out right here at the very end, but that sucker would have kept going. And then this one on this side, that was our light for caliber 70 grain. As you can see, went straight through. Nice disruption, nice wound channel straight out the back. That sucker would have kept going as well. And lastly, I'm going to turn it around and show you from this side. But that was the Hornady Backcountry, which also had nice wound channel. Kind of hard to see. Got some overcast skies today, but same thing. Through the plywood all the way out the back. All right, well, let's get back. I'll give you my final conclusions. So back from the range. And if you haven't figured it out by now, basically we were conducting two different tests with the 10mm. The Full Metal Jacket versus the Backcountry Defense, and the light for weight projectile in the Liberty versus the tried and true heavy hard cast lead. So let's start with the Full Metal Jacket versus Hornady's Backcountry Defense. I'll be honest, I was a little underwhelmed with Hornady's new offering. Velocity was lower than advertised, and the energy was abysmal because of that. I'm not really sure where this cartridge actually fits in. It would probably over-penetrate for a self-defense round, but it produces less energy than some hot 9mm rounds. It's basically an overpriced Full Metal Jacket, as seen right here. Oops, and let me show you exactly what I'm. So the Full Metal Jacket, the Backcountry, these are the two projectiles recovered from the polyethylene, and they look virtually the same. I'll zoom in and show you some up close of that. So for this test, it has to go to the Full Metal Jacket, plain and simple, for the fact that the Full Metal Jacket is less expensive and provides more energy on target and the same terminal ballistic effect. Now, moving on to the two heavy hitters. The real test for bear defense. I was definitely surprised by the Liberty's 70 grain offering. You know, over box claimed velocities out of a Glock 20, pushing well over 700, even into the 730, 740 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. That's impressive. However, the Grizzly was still in the high 600s, around 675 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. But the Liberty, it's a third of the weight. So while carrying, you know, a full mag, it's going to be a lot less. Yet the hardcast carries more weight on and through the target, meaning less deflection in wooded areas. So these two cartridges kept battling it out. One would seem to have an advantage versus the other. And as you can see here, and I will get you a close-up, these are the two projectiles recovered from the polyethylene on this side. You know, virtually no damage to the lead. And this was very interesting. I actually cut into the copper. I will turn that around and show you both sides. But the inside, this hollow point, I'll show you right here, acted differently than a hollow point. Instead of expanding, it fell in. And again, like I said, I'll show you some close-up of that. So what am I going with? Well, at the beginning of the test and on my last hunt, I loaded the 220 grain hard cast lead rounds. But on my next outing, looks like I'll be going with the 70 grain Liberty rounds. Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments below which you would take and why. And until the next one.